Hello sailors, welcome back. My name's Andy. Today I'm going to be having another delve into the rules. So in last video I looked at boats on opposite tacks, that looks at port and starboard. Now I'm going to be moving down to rules 11 and 12, which looks at boats on the same tack. Now when you're on the same tack, there's two scenarios. You could be overlapped or you could be one boat ahead of the other. And we've got the two different rules that apply to that. I'm going to run through this at a basic level as before, and then delve into a little bit more technicalities and what each boat must do in different scenarios. Let's start with some definitions. So if we have a little look at Rule 11 and Rule 12, we've got Rule 11, boats on the same tack, overlapped. Rule 12, boats on the same tack, not overlapped. So an obvious place to start here is, what does overlapped mean? And when we're looking at overlapped, it's probably easier to actually start by defining what clear ahead and clear astern means. So to begin with, imagine your boat with a line drawn at 90 degrees from the furthest aft bit of equipment in its normal position. Okay, providing that is clear ahead of another boat with all its bits in the right place, then it is clear ahead, the other boat is clear astern. When that doesn't happen, when one boat is not clear astern of the other, then they're classed as overlapped. Right, and looking at a few examples here, we've got red is overlapped and to windward of green. Rule 11 applies. Again, green is clear ahead, over to Rule 12. In this case, neither boat is clear astern, so they're actually classed as overlapped. Slightly less obvious, but again, back to Rule 11. And sometimes it's actually pretty tricky to see if they're overlapped or not. Not overlapped. That means over to Rule 12. And as you could probably imagine, you'll often get scenarios between two boats where Rule 12 may exist and then they become overlapped. Suddenly it switches to Rule 11. The overlap is broken again, back to Rule 12, vice versa. And in this example, two boats overlap sailing downwind. Which rule applies? 11, 12? Trick question, neither. They're on opposite tacks, therefore it is Rule 10. So Rule 12 to start with, a little bit easier to explain than Rule 11, so let's start with the easy one. And this is quite simply, a boat astern must keep clear of a boat that is clear ahead. So what does each boat need to do? So the clear ahead boat can essentially sail wherever they like, with just sort of two provisos really. So the first one being that their actions don't change their right of way. So possibly they could sail and actually become overlapped to windward, in which case they are then the keep clear boat and need to then give way. Or that if they're changing direction, they need to make sure that the keep clear boat actually has room and opportunity to keep clear. Okay, so providing they do that, both of those things, they can pretty much go wherever they like. What does the clear astern boat need to do? Essentially, keep clear. On to Rule 11 now. So this is on the same tack, overlapped. So when boats are on the same tack and overlapped, a windward boat shall keep clear of a leeward boat. So again, something we need to define here. What does windward mean and what does leeward mean? At a simple level, windward means towards the wind or the side closest to the wind. Leeward means away from the wind. Now in sailing it gets a little bit more complicated. If you're sailing upwind or across the wind, the windward side of the boat and a boat to windward will be one that's on the side closest to the wind, and the opposite for the leeward. However, we need to consider runs when you're sailing straight downwind, or even by the lee when you go just past a run but the boom hasn't swapped sides. And now the windward and leeward side are defined by which side the boom is on. The side with the mainsail on, I should say. The side with the mainsail on is defined as the leeward side, so the opposite is going to be the windward side. So we can have look at a few scenarios. We've got a straightforward one here. So yellow is quite clearly the windward boat. and they must keep clear of blue. Again, we've got yellow and blue, same tack. Yellow, once again, windward boat, must keep clear of blue. And on a run, you can see both boats sailing downwind. We've got to work out which is the windward side. So that's the side away from the boom. So in this case, yellow is to windward of blue and needs to keep clear. Blue has right of way. Now, what each boat needs to do does depend a little bit on the scenario which they find themselves in, but we'll stick to something that is always the same, and that is hails. So as with port and starboard rule, it can be a good idea for the leeward boat to call to alert the windward boat to their presence. However, they don't need to. It's important for the windward boat to keep a good lookout. Okay, scenario 1, this is probably the easiest. Boat coming downwind meets a boat going upwind. Now, technically, blue here, they are the leeward boat. They can sail where they like. Generally, you're not going to do that. Most of the time, you're sailing upwind. There's also a rule that you shouldn't interfere with a boat on another leg of the course. So it makes little sense for blue to do much more than just hold their course and carry on sailing upwind. Yellow needs to keep clear. And if you're yellow, top tip here, keep an eye out and look for a boat coming upwind. It's pretty easy to avoid and miss. If you're responding early enough, you can just duck behind them. Try to avoid the scenario, and most sailors will have been here at some point. They've haven't spotted a boat, and they haven't got time to go behind them. They actually end up having to head up and end up sailing the wrong direction. So if you're yellow, top tip, keep an eye out. Look to avoid very early. It's a minor deviation. And scenario 2, this is another common one. So 2 boats sailing on a reach. Here we've got turquoise is the windward boat and needs to keep clear of pink. So pink is leeward. Definition of keeping clear: pink should be able to move in either direction without straight away making contact with turquoise. So that is the onus on turquoise. However, pink, what they can do does depend a little bit on how they became leeward boat. So one scenario is they were clear astern and sailed into a leeward position from behind. In that scenario, pink cannot sail above her proper course. Here's a quick definition of proper course, and important to remember it's pink's proper course, not turquoise's proper course. Right, if now the other scenario is pink ended up as leeward boat because turquoise sailed into this position from clear astern, so pink was clear ahead. In this case, pink can actually sail where she likes, providing she maintains right of way. So that means she could steer all the way up to head to wind. And the reason you do that is to protect your wind. Now, last scenario here, we've got 2 boats sailing upwind, and this is quite common, especially if you sail in handicap fleets. There's one boat can point a little bit higher, sail a little bit closer to the wind than the other. In this scenario, red is windward boat and needs to keep clear, even if that means that they can't hold that course and they need to tack away. Blue has right away. Right, so in summary, a windward boat always needs to keep clear of a boat to leeward. Leeward boat, good thing to shout, is windward. And there are a few rules that surround this that we always need to consider. So there's rule 14, sort of avoiding contact. So even if you are at the leeward boat, you should try to avoid contact if it is very obvious that the windward boat isn't going to keep clear. Providing no damage is caused, you will be exonerated though. Okay, the other thing that we need to look at is when acquiring right of way. So this happens often when boats are going from rule 12 to rule 11 when they're sailing on a reach. So if you acquire right of way down to leeward, then you've been through your actions. You need to give the windward boat initially room to keep clear. However, if you're the leeward boat and a boat sails into the windward position, it's through their action, you can start luffing straight away, providing you do give them that that time to keep clear. Okay, hopefully this has all been useful for you. Any comments, do welcome them. Next is, or still to come, look at Rule 17, a little more of a deep dive into that, which is very linked to this. So if I've missed some things about establishing overlaps, 2 boat lengths, all that jazz, I will be coming to that. And also there's been a request for a Rule 18 looking at going round marks. That's a biggie. So I'm psyching myself up for that one. So soon to come. Right. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.